post-real world. We're living in a post-truth world. Post-truth means that anything you read, you don't know if you can trust it, where the sources come from, if it's been made up. The other thing about a post-truth world is that you can mimic anything. So people, in a law of court, if you've got a film of somebody doing something in a post-truth world, because you can create that with artificial intelligence, the evidence going to court with film is no longer valid because it's no longer provable as truth because it can be replicated. So we're living in a post-truth world at the moment. But how about post-real? So I went onto the internet. The date is the 21st of August 2023, and I went onto the internet and looking at the internet. The reason I look it up there is because it helps me think better. I went onto the internet and I looked for post-real world, and I didn't see anything with a post-real world. And then I went onto YouTube and there was nothing on a post-real world. And so I was thinking, well, maybe this is a concept that hasn't yet come out, and maybe I'd like to talk about it a little bit more, which is what I'm going to do, which is why I'm here. Facts are dependent on objective science. So, if you're a scientist out there, don't go and like correct me, because I haven't really I'm not up to date, but I know more or less. A fact, what's a fact? It's something that can be proved. A science experiment needs to be replicated in different space using the same ways and technology. I think, well, different technology, but it needs to be replicated by someone else for instructions. So what is a fact? Well, a fact, I suppose, is something that comes from a first source or something like that. But if we live in a post-fact world, how do we come to these ideas? Well, we need to believe in objective truths. And what is an objective truth? Well, an objective truth, I suppose, is gravity, or it's Newtonian physics, or it's science, or something like that. But what happens if those laws were not objective, but they were subjective? They were subjective to the universe that we live in. So we live in a 3D Earth dimension at a certain particular space-time, and we have a code. We've got a coding system, or we've got something that the matrix runs on. So we can believe that we're in a matrix, and lots of people have said that. Buddhists, Hindus, Gnostics. We live in a matrix. Also Nick Bostrom, who's head of future studies at Oxford University. So there's a lot of ideas out there that we actually do live in a simulation, and the simulation would be running on a computer, and the computer would have its own programming and its own speed. So as David Icke has said, the running speed of the matrix that we're in at the moment is the speed of light. So the speed of light, I forget, it's like 400,000 kilometers per second or something like that. And so that's what we're running on. We're running on that speed, if you like. And so once you go out of our universe, then there would be different laws of physics. For instance, they say that with the current physics laws at the moment, I don't think they can break anti-gravity. They can't make anti-gravity. But maybe if you had different physics laws, so Einsteinian relativity has different laws to Newtonian science, because it's dealing with different space. Like Einstein's dealing with subatomic particles, whereas Newton's dealing with planets. So it works like clockwork. But when things are at a very small level, things happen, and space-time maybe disappears. And so within up until Newton, we thought we had one set of principles, and then Einstein comes along with it, and we have another. And there's no reason why we can't have another after that as well. And there's no reason why we can't have another set of physics principles which come from a universe outside of ours as well. And when we create our matrices, then we will have different physics. So obviously the matrix that we create, which is the metaverse, is going to run on the speed of electricity and computing power. That's how much. That's the speed of what that will be. So truth. What is real? What is real? Because if the matrix, if we're living in something and this isn't real, and it comes more and more apparent to us when we create a matrix and we create the metaverse, and we see parallels and we see patterns, and we can put two and two together if we're not too stupid by then, and we can put two and two together and we can say, oh my god, this and this we can see. And if metaverse to our reality exists, then obviously there's something over there, which is the spirit world maybe. So you've got spirit world, physical world, metaverse, and then whatever. Why can't you build a matrix in that matrix as well? And maybe that matrix that's outside of ours, that we're in, there's another matrix, and so on. And, you know, where does the rabbit hole go? You know, how far do you go down the rabbit hole? So if we start to understand that, you know, who we are doesn't exist, the gender doesn't exist, we can become avatars, we can change DNA, we can go into a computer system. Reality and the computer system are the same because it works off the brain. It's like hallucination. You know, the laws in the matrices that we create are different from ours. So, for instance, there's no gravity. There's different feelings. You can put things into the brain. You could genetically modify the brain in order to have different sensations that, as humans, we've never had. Once you make a bigger brain or a different brain that's got more computing power, then you could maybe compute more using the internet as it came in, rather than the brains that we've got. So we can change what we think is real. And maybe we'll come to a conclusion or an understanding that, hey, maybe the world around us isn't real. Maybe they were correct. Maybe it is an illusion. Maybe Plato's cave is correct. And so then what are the objective truths? What is real? What isn't real? And you won't know. So you'll have a post-truth and you'll have a post-real situation whereby you'll start to think that you can split from this dimension to another dimension, which would be the metaverse. So what's more real, the metaverse or this dimension? If you can feel more in the metaverse, because number one, you're directly plugged in. Number two, they use maybe chemicals or drugs to enhance things. Number three, different chemicals and drugs. Number four, they can create different experiences in the brain. Number six, they can create different types of brains that can have different experiences that we can't and that we wouldn't understand. Then that metaverse would appear more real and more expanded than the world that we live in. So what's more real? Well, the metaverse would be more real, wouldn't it? So if nothing's real and nothing is right and nothing's wrong, then maybe you can do what you want. So now we're heading towards the way Satan might work. Isn't that how Satan would sell something? You know, if nothing is real, then you can do what you want. So if you go and kill someone or rape someone, it's not real. So if you were to rape someone in this reality now, it's not really real because you're in another reality. Just in the same ways that if you went into the metaverse and you raped somebody, could you be charged for raping somebody in the metaverse in this universe? Because there was a woman that said that she was raped in the metaverse. But if she feels that she's been raped in the metaverse, then has she been raped in the metaverse? Well, if facts don't exist and only feelings do, and she feels that she's been raped, then she has been raped. And therefore, whoever she feels has raped her is guilty. So we're getting into like very difficult and murky waters here, where, you know, what is real and what is not real. And more and more people, as they look at the metaverse, they're going to realize, you know, what is this world? And that's an opening for spirituality, isn't it? It's an opening for people to say, maybe I need to think about the bigger pictures, the bigger ideas in life. And I also have another theory that a lot of the myths and legends in the past are going to make more sense. For instance, about being seduced into the metaverse, you can use Paris, you know, where he saw a really powerful woman, a really rich woman, and a woman that had big tits. And what did he do? Well done, Paris, you choose the one with big tits. Congratulations. You could have had everything and then you lost everything because you're using your, not this one. So if physical laws don't exist, if physical laws change depending on where they are in a large capacity, as in planets, in a small capacity, and the laws of physics may change within a metaverse, if those change, why can't ethics change? And then you go back to the same problem as, for instance, pedophilia. If you've got somebody doing something to a child, and the child isn't real, it's a construction of AI, have they committed a crime? So can you commit a crime? If you can commit a crime for having sex with a child that's a creation of AI, then that thing must be real. And if it's real, then you can get married. And then if you can get married to something that's real, it must have a soul or a spirit. So you're bringing something to life. But they're not to punish people for doing stuff like that? Or do we allow them to do it? So we're coming on to like very difficult ethics. And I think some technology is going to be banned. They're going to try and ban stuff, and you're going to have a lot of programmers that open the technology up to allow you to do what you want, which is what they're doing already with pedophilia. And you'll be able to become your own gods. See? So you'll be able to develop your own physics. You want physics? What type of physics do you want? You can be a god in your universe, therefore you can do whatever you want. You can fly, you can die, you can kill, you can have lovers, you can do whatever you want. So you are the master of your universe, surely. Ethics, maybe ethics is different. I mean, for instance, in the spiritual world, cheating on your wife is very, 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 very bad. But killing, depends why you killed. If you kill in this universe, it's more than likely that you'll go to prison. No matter, you've got to have a good reason. But upstairs, they're a little bit different on that. If you went into someone's house with the intent to kill and you killed that person that came into your house, in my country, you'd go to prison. But up there, they really wouldn't mind. And then there's things like, things that they do mind about, cheating on your wife and stuff like that. So as you go through different ethical dimensions, or as you go through different dimensions, the ethics change. And things become more watered down. Things become weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And so I would have thought within a matrix that's spawned from ours, the ethics would be even weaker.